everybody. Welcome to TFT.
Boy, that looked like a satellite smashing or something.
That?
Yeah, well, just our way of saying we're doing astrology.
I have to do kind of a maneuver like this in my silver sneakers exercise class.
That's spastic.
But welcome to TFT, Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with
Oberon,
Oh,
spastic man.
and me, Banshee. Welcome, Silver Sneakers Banshee.
And we are here because it's time for another
Monthly modality
message. The sun has moved into Gemini. Woohoo!
Which means happy birthday, Geminis.
Happy birthday.
It's your time.
And the modality reading is designed to look at a different association in astrology with zodiac signs and with something else. We all know the elemental properties. This is the modality properties.
Right. And so all the signs are going to be read in relation to their modalities. And so instead of like doing the elemental signs of the zodiac, we're doing the modality of the zodiac.
And so as we go through each one, we will tell you what the qualities are and what all the signs in that particular modality are and its overall relevance. So we're going to start with cardinals.
The cardinal signs, of course, because the cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. And why are we starting with the cardinal signs? Because we're the initiators. Hey. We also get things started. We're active, we're quick, we're driven, we're ambitious. We have him. We have vigor. We are no slackers. And we're enthusiastic. We have a zest for life. We're clever. We want to win. And I use my hands a lot.
Therefore, it's up to me to tell us what the negatives of the cardinals are. And boy, they aren't that many. They're just the important negatives. Too domineering, self-centered, forgetting about others as they focus on their own stuff. And they often don't finish
our own stuff. True that. I have to admit, true that.
So here we are for the modality reading. It's 4 cards, and each of them will describe part of the energy flow and or how, each modality handles it.
Usually we're using the Celestial Tarot for this reading, but today we're using the Zodiac Tarot.
And that's it right there. We've used it before.
Another nice astrologically oriented deck. It shows the constellations on a lot of the cards. So it's a nice, good thing to use. It's by Cecilia Latari, and Anna Chavez is the artist. All right.
All
right, my friends, the cardinal signs.
Card 1, the primary focus for cardinals in the month ahead. And it's the Page of Cups reversed.
Wow. Sheesh. Our primary focus is on something that maybe has gone amiss. Some disappointing news that's received that may be a little bit heartbreaking, that you have to deal with in this month ahead. Cardinal signs, this could be also maybe some relationships that had difficulty getting off the ground. Maybe you had a date that was canceled. Maybe you were ghosted by someone. Gosh forbid, but it happens.
Well, you could think that's the focus for this whole month. Another thing of that happening, I suppose, is that the Page of Cups reversed could... I lost my track of thought. I'll cut it out when I regain it in a moment.
Oh, we like bloopers. The Page of Cups reverse could also be about maybe there's a necessity this month for you to focus on tuning into your intuition and trusting it more. So in other words, before you get ghosted by somebody, maybe you're ignoring some signals that you're getting that could help you avoid this, to begin with. But the thing is, one way or another, maybe the focus this month should be on trusting your intuition more.
I like that. I think it could be about that. I think another thing is that there's a sense of the loss of a poetic feeling in your life, like maybe there's a magic or
Creativity.
philosophy about, your life, and you've kind of not in touch with it. You're sort of feeling like, you're just not in touch with that easier way of looking at your life for some reason.
That
Okay.
could be. So, card two, the role your interactions with others might play in the month ahead.
And it's another
And
page.
it's reversed,
It's
too.
another reversed page. It's the Page of Swords.
Reversed. So, starting to get a pattern here, we mentioned before the potential here for, being ghosted or dates being canceled or some unhappy news in a relationship or just unhappy news. And the Page of Swords is kind of like that, but it could also indicate that maybe something has run afoul because there's an inability to communicate respectfully with one another. Maybe communications with others have gone awry. And if it's not with, say, don't go here. Come on, Sonny. Get back here. I don't know where you're trying to go. Here, you want some toys? That's a different story. But don't go there. All right. So it could be your interactions with others that are playing the role here. They've just run amok. And this doesn't have to be necessarily with a lover or with a prospective lover. Maybe this has to do with somebody else that you're close to.
Well, it seems to me like when you're interacting with others in this month, you're bound to be a little bit off-putting. You may be awkward or say things that are tacky or not very diplomatic. It's possible that you're still reeling from what the focus of the month appears to be for you, but you're overreacting or underreacting in ways that seem noticeable and that people maybe will possibly want to call you out for.
Yeah, the pages, and also as far as your intuition goes, maybe too, if you were tuning into more of how people are feeling about you or just the right thing you should say at the right time, if you were tuning into your intuition, you could do that. But the thing is, you may have ignored your intuition at your peril and said the wrong thing to somebody at the wrong time, and it's going to have repercussions.
Ouchie, ouch. So, what opportunities or challenges will you maybe face considering that? How can you best, try to focus and achieve them? And it's an upright card this time. It's the Four of Pentacles. And your opportunity may be to kind of hold on to what you still have. That maybe if you've upset a few people, if you've kind of burned through some situations, you may have to just move on and try to focus on retaining what you have.
Well, I like that. I think the opportunity or challenge is, and it might be both. It might be both. Because if whatever's going on here is of value to you, how can you hold on to it? That's the opportunity. How can you make this right? For example, if somebody either ghosted you or, backed out of a date, do you really think it's valuable enough to continue to pursue this? I guess that's what you have to decide here, or is it too challenging and you've decided it's not worth the effort? Here, it's deciding what really holds value for you this month.
Well, and to some degree, there could be a sense of doubling down in all of these things here, that this is saying, like, well, because of those things, I have to make sure I don't lose any more. I mean, it could
Wait,
just
oh, go ahead.
be that kind of idea that we're a little bit oversensitive now.
I just wanted to add, by the way, here, just a reminder, when I say month, I'm talking of the month of Gemini. So this
Right.
is good for Gemini season, which is about a month, right? So,
Right, it's usually that.
all
So
right.
finally, how will you use your modality superpowers to their best advantage? And it's the reverse Three of Wands.
Well, that's a tough one.
Well, you may have to try to sense what really isn't in your best interest and avoid it. Maybe this is saying that some opportunities will look enticing, but if you discern it better, you may realize this isn't really the right time for it. And so it's really also knowing how to relay that to the right people.
This is really interesting because he touched on something I was about to say, and that is, how to use your modalities, superpowers. How about by not starting something or trying to start something that you won't be able to finish, that won't have a happy ending,
Yeah.
that won't work out for you? So, in other words, maybe this isn't as valuable as you think it is. So, maybe it's time to just move on. So, let's take a look at this again and see if we can figure this out. So at the beginning here, we said that basically your focus for this month might be trusting your intuition more, trusting your intuition, or focusing on why something isn't working out for you, why somebody keeps canceling dates or is avoiding you, maybe not getting, you're feeling you're not getting the happy news you were hoping to receive.
You're not seeing the poetry of life, but maybe that's what's going on right now. Is like maybe this is a time where life isn't very poetic, except maybe in a more tragic sense.
And so also with the role others, your interactions with others will play, well, I think that's feeding the problem here. I think that there's a lack of good communication with one another. Either people are talking over each other, not listening what the other has to say, or saying the wrong thing at the wrong time.
You're either under or overdoing it in the verbal and or other interactions with people. So maybe people are having a hard time sensing whether you have sincerity.
And the opportunity or challenge for you this month is determining if this is really worth your while to pursue this course. Again, I almost think here, this is where your gut could play a role if you tune into it. You have to really think in your heart, is this worth the effort I've been trying to put into this, or should I let it go?
Conversely, this could just be saying, I'm going to hold on to what's is left to me and I'm moving on from that in a way.
Yeah, could be.
It could be that.
And ultimately, I think that's what we've decided at the end here. The best way to use your modality superpowers is to, hey, maybe let something go that you know will not have a happy ending.
Yeah.
Will resolve in a positive manner.
An opportunity that's not really meant for you.
Oh, sorry, cardinal signs. Looks like a tough Gemini season for you.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the fixed signs, shall we? See, he's going to do it anyway.
I know.
And I'm pretty angry about that.
Fixed signs.
You're going to stay there now.
Are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius.
Yeah.
And they have some positives. They are steadiness and stable, determined, resolute, and self-reliant, forging ahead. They calmly work on objectives. Well, Scorpio less than the others. Remembers, I said less, remembers those who helped them. Persistence, concentration, powerful yet purposeful. With this modality, fixed signs, there are no wasted motions.
But you know what? With all of that, they can be very stubborn people. They're kind of like my way or the highway thinking at times. They have a tendency to get stuck in their ways, and there's no getting around that. Believe this Aries. And they believe they're always right.
I believe you took too long to shuffle those.
I thought you were going to say too long to go over the negatives.
Because I should have been.
Because there really aren't that many negatives, but sometimes it's quality over quantity, or the lack thereof. I don't want it just on the fixed signs.
It's later after the cameras are rolling.
Nobody will watch our show if I do that.
Why? I get pretty abrasive and they still watch the show.
You produce it, Mr. Producer.
I don't force people to watch it, though.
Okay.
All right, so for the mutables,
I'll start with the first one
Card
this
one.
time.
the primary
What's about the
focus.
primary focus for the mutables modality in the month ahead? And isn't it so typical of you? It's justice reversed. You just don't feel you're getting a fair shake. You feel as though, something is not right. Something is out of balance. If it's not about not getting a fair shake, you're just feeling right now that things are out of balance and you're not sure what to do about it.
Is it possible that for this modality, the fixed signs, that some of them may be on one side or the other of a legal situation, or certainly about an important decision that maybe promotes the idea of what's fair for either case, depending on the context of the situation?
It could very
So
well
maybe
be.
fixed signs will be involved in a simple matter or not so simple matter of justice. Watch out for that.
Right. And so the thing is, if you are on the wrong side of things, it's time, for you to focus on taking responsibility.
Ooh.
So let's see if that happens. What about go ahead. What's
The role
Yeah.
that your interactions with others will play.
Maybe somebody can help you out. See,
Well,
the swords reversed.
Well, you may find that people will help you realize it's not as bad as it looks like, that you may think it's worse than what it is, and they may show you where the exit ramps really are. Also, it's possible too that maybe your interaction with others will show you that you need to see them in a different light, not exactly the way you've been seeing them. Maybe they're freer than you imagine they are.
Maybe what this is saying is you may have the confidence this month to approach others and tell them that you were wrong about something or that you did something wrong. Maybe it's about owning up and taking responsibility and having the bravery to do that.
Right.
And others will treat you better for doing so.
Well, what's the difference between an illusion you believe and an illusion that maybe you perpetuate? Maybe it's time to come clean.
Here you go.
All right.
Mr. O.
So, card 3, opportunities or challenges you may face in this month ahead and how best you can achieve them.
It's interesting because it's another card of kind of imbalance, the Six of Pentacles reversed. So that is the challenge, is writing what's out of balance here. This is the challenge this month. I mean, one can look at it as an opportunity you have the opportunity to right a wrong or an imbalance here.
If I didn't know better, I'd say that the fixed signs are really having some situations coming up here. And this last one really makes it clear that you will have an opportunity to right some scales, to repay some debts, or possibly to feel the opposite, that maybe they're not, that maybe you have to give more to the situation than you thought. But it is justice in a way, which is what started us off.
Oh boy, so how do you use your modality superpowers this month to your best advantage?
And it's reversed again, isn't it?
No,
it's not.
It is not. It's interesting. It's the Four of Pentacles again, and it's upright.
Oh, wow.
So basically, how you use your superpowers to turn this upside down, you have to be determined and you have to, just a minute, I know what I wanted to say here. What?
I bet your hand, and you didn't even feed me.
You have to be determined to recognize well, no.
A fixed sign wants things to stay the way they are. They want to hold on to things the way they are. That's what this is. This is your superpower, is maybe regulating things, holding on to things, positioning things.
So are you saying to hold things as they are, out of balance?
Well, no, it may be holding the things that you finally realize.
I think it's about your values.
Okay.
In a sense here, this is material.
Sure.
I'm wondering if this has to do with a workplace issue. I'm not sure. Maybe it's some office office politics going on,
Hmm.
or with some groups or organizations, but it could be something else. What I do feel here is that you have to determine, you have to show people that you are willing to make things right, that your values are guiding you here. And because you are kind of my way or the highway, you always feel you're right. Maybe your values are getting you to admit that in this case you were wrong.
That's not true at all. That's my superpower.
So in a way, I think it's again one of your anti-superpowers at work here. You know, you are stubborn, but you can break that by admitting that you made a mistake here and you want to make things right again. Because values mean a lot to you and your integrity.
So let's go through that again then.
This was a tough one.
This was.
But let's look at this. Okay, so your primary focus for this month ahead is this Gemini season is to right a wrong. You know, whether it was done to you, but I get the feeling you might be responsible here. You may have done something untoward and now you have to make up for it. Whether you promised to get something done on a schedule and you slacked off, or, you know, you did something unethical, you have to own up to it.
Fixed signs have to pay the piper and maybe balance the scale.
Accept the responsibility. That's your focus. And others will appreciate you more for doing it. They will encourage you to do it, not to stay surrounded by any guilt or, you know, how should I say this? Any facades you're trying to put on to cover up your mistake. It's time to come clean.
With good interaction with others, they will help you realize that maybe you were operating under an illusion or the wrong idea, and they will give you advice to help you right your ship.
And so, what about the challenges or opportunities you face? Well, I think it's again in doing this and being brave enough to do this. And go ahead.
You're making restoration.
You're making restoration. You know, it looks like you realize the scales are really uneven here and you owe something.
I don't know about the other fixed signs, but I know that sometimes Scorpios can be kind of magnanimous, so maybe that's what this is talking about. All right, final.
Magnanimous?
I've been called magnanimous by people who probably didn't know what they were talking about.
Okay. And finally,
your superpower.
Well, this is a little tricky. I might want to change mine a little bit here. I still think it's about your values, but I also feel here that you are stubborn, and how you can best use your superpowers is to release your hold on trying to get through this without making restoration. You have to do it. You have to let go. You're holding on tightly. You're trying to avoid it, but you have to let it go.
Maybe it's talking about how you've internalized and learned the lesson. You're not grasping or trying to acquire more than what you deserve. You're just holding on to your own and you're saying, this is mine. And so maybe this is the idea that you're coming to terms with that, of what is yours and what you shouldn't be trying for that isn't necessarily yours.
And maybe right, what you thought was yours was not really yours.
We can put that in there too.
Okay.
So that's it for the fixed signs.
Now we are on the mutables. Those mutables. You know, let me get you to shuffle first, Mr. O, as I rattle through the many attributes of the mutable signs.
Right.
And you know, they are just so willing to go with the flow. They're adaptable, they're flexible, they're versatile, they're resourceful. They can change when necessary, and it's easy for them to do so. They can be like a chameleon in a way, assuming various personas or looks or appearances when necessary. They're well liked by others. They're easygoing. They enjoy learning. They play fair. They're diplomatic. They're sharp. They're sympathetic. They can see below the surface of things, and that is really an important attribute. They're selfless and they're quick to help others. Give me my hand back. Hello, son man. Are we
So
keeping
therefore,
pause?
the negatives, they try too hard to please everyone. And they can be wishy-washy or inconsistent or seem that way. They can be downright duplicitous sometimes. They can stretch themselves to the breaking point.
Sonny, I don't know what you're trying to do to me here, but somebody's saying I need more attention today.
And if you are not astrologied out, later today will be the unhappy hour, which we do when the moon goes into its fourth phase. And this reading is specifically designed to help you turn your grumbles, your frowns upside down.
Johnny, I picked. Oh, you can get it. Okay, I moved him now. Don't bend my cards.
All right, card one, the primary focus for the Mutables. And it's strength reversed.
Well, mutables, what's up here? Well, no, that's not bad at all. Actually, what you have to do, though, mutable, you're so easygoing. It looks as though your primary focus this month is how to muster up some force. You're going to have to push something to make it move forward. You're going to have to put some extra effort into something or be more strong in your resolve to stand up for yourself or to get something accomplished or done.
It's about being assertive and knowing the right amount of aggressive, positive energy to put into that idea of assertiveness.
Right. So, you can't just necessarily expect your easygoing nature to work for you in whatever situation this is. Let's see what we've got here. So, what about your interactions with others?
And it's judgment reversed.
Hmm.
Your interaction with others may feel that you are having a hard time making them understand something that you feel is sort of, a big thing they should understand. It should be an epiphany to them. And maybe you're not getting that point across. Maybe you want them to understand things at the same level as you, but you haven't been able to convince them of that because they don't really feel a gravity there for them.
Maybe you feel changes are needed. And, like I'm thinking with the strength card here, that you want to push the idea that changes are needed in your relations with a certain group of people, whether it's at work or whether it's in your personal life, whether it's with family, friends, or a lover. You want them to understand that something big needs to change in order for things to work better between you.
Exactly. And a lot of times it's just really going to be about uh, realizing that changes are helpful or that they're anything but helpful.
I might see one other situation here for some of you mutable signs. It's possible here that you really want to reawaken a friendship, a relationship with someone, whether it's a family member you've been ostracized with for a long time, or it's somebody else.
Maybe somebody you were too aggressive with in a way.
You're going to have to really try to push to make this happen because I'm not so sure that the other person is convinced that this change is good for them. They aren't hearing the same call for it that you are.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Card 3, opportunities or challenges you could face, mutables, in this month ahead and how best you may achieve them. And it's another reverse. Boy, we get the reverses here. It's the Nine of Wands reversed. So the challenge maybe is to get over some of the anxiety about these other situations, about maybe feeling that, you're questioning maybe whether or not you are assertive enough or not assertive enough. And maybe, you're questioning whether you're able to convince people that they need to bring changes to either the group dynamic or to the situations they're in. And this opportunity or challenge, is about you realizing that, those anxieties that you feel were maybe more about other people that you don't really have control over, and it's best to just let that go because other people you can't necessarily control.
The challenges here could be twofold. I think here that it could be saying that maybe one of the challenges is here is that, there's a part of you that wants to give up. There's a part of you that just wants to let it go. And so are you really all in on trying to make this change happen and occur? Are you really ready to push forward this agenda? Or the other thing is about this, are you prepared to do it? Are you prepared to push this forward? Maybe again, because you're so easygoing, you're just willing to give up too soon on something.
And this is the challenge. I think you hit on a good point. These cards all represent kind of binary situations where people either have to do or don't, and that can really make them or break them.
So, what about your modality superpower? Can you get it to work for you here?
Not if it's reversed. It's the reversed Ace of Pentacles.
My goodness, everything's reversed in this reading.
Well, it's happened in a few of these readings that we had more.
Well, how can you use your modality superpowers? I would say this again. Nothing is going to grow if you take a laissez-faire attitude towards this. Nothing's going to grow if you can't be more assertive. I think here, if you're just, trying to look for a compromise here, there may be no compromise. There may be just you trying to say, let's do things differently now. And that might be the only way forward. But if you think it can be just going back to business as usual, or that you can just that you can just be your easygoing self, no. People are not going to buy in unless you really push the idea that things are going to be different this time.
Yeah, some of these cards really play to the idea that you're not feeling like it was here. Like you can't please everyone, and you have to come to terms with that in a way. And that maybe that's what this one says, is that you indicate you're going to do the best you can, but there are no promises in a way.
There's no promises here for growth. The last card is always about how to use your superpowers. This really doesn't give an outcome. I guess in a sense, these readings try to give you tools on how to come to a better outcome in your situation. And so I do feel like things are pretty much up in the air for you this month, mutable signs. Let's look at this again and try to put it together. You really need to push something forward if you want to make something happen. And, it's like you have to be more aggressive in your approach, whether you like to or not. It's not like you can just easily go with the flow here. The flow is not going your way. And so how do you change it up? By pushing something forward.
And a part of that maybe realizing you can do this without looking like you've overreacted, like you went from a more docile nature to overreacting. So that too is what you need to do, is that you can be assertive without being overly aggressive.
Yeah. And the thing is here, what you need to do is, some people may be feeling very hypercritical about a situation. I kind of feel here you might want to rekindle an old friendship, partnership, romance, uh, relationship with a family member that's gone south over the years. You want to bring something back. You want to resurrect something. But in order to do so, you're going to have to be the one to push this forward. They're not buying in. They're still feeling a little bit hypercritical about things. Because that's another part of the judgment card, is criticism. Either self-criticism or criticism from others. And since this is your interactions with others, I think it's others.
Your interactions with others will make you realize that everybody's not on the same page, and that you may have to accept that people have differing views about the situation.
And so the challenge is, Are you ready to take this on? Are you really ready? Or, are you kind of in the mode of just kind of giving up on it? Because, for you guys, for you mutable signs to have to push and cajole people, that's not your style usually. I mean, you're looking for compromise, and I'm not sure, you're willing to compromise, you're willing to give everything up that you believe in to make this work for you. So it's kind of a hit or miss kind of thing here. Are you ready to take this on, or are you ready to let it go?
Right. The challenge is determining whether or not you really feel you're prepared for this. And it may be that you have to understand that it's okay to understand you're not.
And unless you're willing to step outside of your comfort zone of just going with the flow and just keeping things status quo, which they can't be if you hope to bring this back again, nothing is going to grow for you. You may be stagnating. You may still be in, things may stay as they are. But if you are willing to step outside that box here and do things differently, you may be able to, turn this around.
Some of this may be accepting the idea too that this progress is going to be even slow by your standards. Pisces and the other modalities tend to have a kind of slower motivations at times, or slower to rise to energy. This could be saying you'll have to accept that it could even be slower.
Yeah. So that's what we have for you. That's it. Good luck with that in the month ahead, and in Gemini season.
Lean towards me. There you go. So that's it for
That's
our
it.
modality.
Yes. I want to say once again, happy birthday to the Geminis. Enjoy your season, party hardy, as they say. And we'll see you again when the sun turns into the happy sign, the very emotional sign of Cancer.
All right.
All right, everybody.
See you
Take
next time.
care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.